I told myself that I'd only shoot this video if it was the absolute last resort and I've exhausted all my options and um, every other shelter or security around me. And so, doesn't matter if I'm ready or not, I have to shoot this. I have no script written before this. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say, but I know what it is that I need, um, what it is that I have to ask for. Literally, have to bend down, humble myself, and um, make these requests. Um, I'm looking to raise some funding for a book that I've written. I wrote it a while ago. As soon as I had fled South Africa and we landed in Ireland, I we had some time to experience certain things, and by 2021, I was going through a lot of post-traumatic stress. And one of the ways I coped was to write about all the things that had happened prior, all the things that happened in South Africa, and also some of the things that had happened in Ireland, and really trying to contextualize this and try to make sense of everything. And one of the ways that I was trying to cope with that is to write about it. Um, so I'd started that process, and over the years since starting to write about it, so many things were happening as well at the same time. So um, it's kind of like I have this task to write this, and then while I'm trying to make sense of the things that happened, more things are happening that create more trauma, um, and more things to have to kind of immediately respond to. Um, so, what is the goal of me saying this? I've written a book and I finally only published it in December 2024. And this is when things were at the time coming to a head. And I had to really force to finish it then. Not everything is going to be packed in there. I don't think that's really possible to encapsulate everything and put it in there, but the key details, the key things, and the buildup of everything is in there. There's no way to make anybody empathize with the story. And when I say empathize, I mean really understand and put yourself in this story. Put yourself in those shoes and discern. Use your powers of discernment to really understand why some of the decisions, to understand some of the decisions we've made, some of the things we've tried to avoid, and in the ways we've tried to protect people around us, as well as ourselves. So the book is published. I've never really made much efforts to market it. I've just put it on social media a couple of times and online as well, but I've always been reluctant in my wishes for this to be discovered, for this book to be found and ordered and read. In all my trials, it's very funny to say this, but I've never even had a hard copy of this book myself. I've only been able to proofread it digitally because I couldn't even afford to buy my own book. Not that it's expensive, it's just so many things that happened, and it's something that was put out of my mind because there's so many immediate things to respond to, including the case we have to deal with, and just a lot of the persecutions we've undergone, had to respond to that, going to Gardaí. There's just been too many events that it's really difficult to respond to act on things that are more future state if so many things are being thrown at you immediately. I'm sure many people can relate to that, just trying to play catch up. In any case, I'll tell you more about the book. You'll find my story in there, and I know I haven't explained it in this video, but you'll find videos online, as well as some blog posts on my story and kind of the day-to-day. It's not daily posts. I post when I can, but these already help to give you context. The story is called Comfort and Other Traps. that was the initial title, and then over time after 2021, through other experiences and remembering certain things, I expanded this title, so now it's called Comfort and Other Traps, Oblivion and Other Lies. And I'll just tell you a bit about the book. I'm going to go through it here. Sorry, I haven't really prepared anything. I'm just coming up here candid, just to explain to you what this book is about, and really encouraging you to read it, because the book is not only a story, but it's also essentially our case. So I'll go over the contents of each chapter. It's really started with our dream house in number 45 Wilton. Prior to this, as a family, we've all experienced financial difficulties. That's fine. And then suddenly my mother made a breakthrough and really succeeded in her own right in these in her endeavors. And so obviously as her children, we benefited from that. So I speak about this dream house to give you the context. And then second one, cracks in the foundation. So obviously we have this dream house, and then notice these little things. So this is a build-up to everything that transpired. The USA trip, this I mentioned because I thought it had significance for the things that would happen later on, including how many things had changed in South Africa since we had gone on this trip and had come back. And I'll let you read that chapter without spoiling it for anyone. Strength forged in pain. So that was background information. So I speak about the family background that I come from on one side of the family, just because it is relevant to our case. At least that is what I think. Then I speak about heritage. And that also has much to do with our case, because now speaking about heritage of land. This is beyond the house in 45 Wilton. It is even beyond the companies that I've spoken about initially, that which one of them was undergoing liquidation. The other one is a mining company. It is beyond the house. After that, chapter 7, I speak about 2010, which was a big year in South Africa for World Cup, and then security incidents, because while all of that hype was going on, we were going through our own hype of trials. Security incident, and then all the weird things that happened in 45 Wilton. And then chapter 8, intrusions and collusions. You have to read that, because then it starts to speak to perhaps the people that have essentially sold us to these trials, sold us to certain people in government. It's not it's not government that's corrupt in of itself. In this book, is what I'm trying to say. What I'm really trying to say is that there's entities, there's individuals that really just have ill intent for other people. And then chapter 10, don't want to skip anything. Chapter 9 is the bogus eviction. So I speak about the house in number 45 Walton Avenue, which was an asset owned by my mother's company, Apsiset. And the bogus eviction follows an illegal or fraudulent liquidation that occurred, and documents that were supplied to refute this liquidation. But in any case, they sold the house anyways, not through legal means, and there were so many discrepancies at the title deeds offices just to forge ownership of this house. Still a problem today, and I think you'll find now that there's many houses in South Africa, particularly in the Bryanston area, where people have been taken out of their homes through whatever means, and now you have people squatting in these affluent houses in Bryanston. Mostly immigrants are made to live in very poor conditions in this affluent area, and this was happening secretly. And now there's so many news articles about it. And all you have to do is just search on YouTube. You'll see how these people are paying around 1,000, 2,000 to stay in these places. They have nowhere else to go. And so there's someone who is the kingpin of this. And so I'm not going to pretend to know everything about it, but I'm just telling you that that's very relevant to the case. Chapter 10, Life After the Fraudulent Eviction. Chapter 11, Layers Torn Away, Exposing Comforts. And so this is where you start to see this build up and why I entitled the book Comfort and Other Traps. And then chapter 12, Flight. So this is eventually when we fled from South Africa. And then introduces part 2, which is primarily about Ireland. And so chapter 13 begins with The Truman Show. Chapter 14, Back to the City Against All Odds. Chapter 15, Discovering the Pieces to the Puzzle. And then finally, chapter 16 is entitled Whatever a Man is Sowing. So that's the premise of the book. I'm wondering if I should read as well the personal note of the authorship, so that it gives you more context. Or you can stop the video here and decide whether you are willing to put in whatever amount to help, firstly, fulfill the goals to market the book, to sell the book, and whether that contribution is monetary or even if it's just to share the story and really spread it. I would much appreciate that. Again, like I said in the beginning, I'm shooting this video because it's sort of the last resort. Something in my eye. Forgive me. It's just a glare. This is the absolute last resort. I've rented this place out here in this area this is the last day now. And so I'm going to look for supports out there. I'm going to do what I can to prevent dire straits. But at least if things get really, really worse for us, the story is out there. The truth is out there. And that's my hopes, really. Ideally, I would be able to market it and sell it to as many people as possible, because I believe everyone will have a story that relates to some portion of this book. We're in very, very unique circumstances, but I think there's something much bigger going on, and I feel like this is the purpose of us even going through all these trials. I've been afraid to come on, sit in front of the camera, speak out, speak my truth, and I've done it in small ways, praying that nobody finds it. And now I'm sitting here today, shooting this video, having not planned it, being pressed for time because I have to make sure that I at least plan out what happens tomorrow. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I sit here now laying all my cards bare and really praying that people actually find it, and that they find not only this video but everything else that I've recorded, so that you understand everything that has led up to this point. And so with that, I will detail all the specs of the crowdfunding campaign. I will list out how much my goal is. At this point, I'm going to say it's 5,000, and that will cover possibly food, just the basic expenses, and primarily that money will go to really trying to get this book in multiple spaces. And I mean, after all this publishing, I might need to even write a part 2 of the book. But I'm not going to hold my breath for that. This is what I have, and this is the card that I'm using right now. Your support would be very much appreciated. And with that, I will leave it to you. Thank you.